love Venn diagrams. You know, the circles, right? 3 usually.
The Kamala is affordable because it's made with cheap foreign labor that came here illegally.
And said, we're not paying them nearly enough.
And while it looks small on the outside, the interior's as roomy as a big yellow school bus.
Who doesn't love a yellow school bus, right?
And best of all, the state-of-the-art GPS will take you everywhere, except the southern border.
This whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
The Kia Kamala. Critics agree it's not a smart car.
Hi folks, this is Peter Boykin, and this is hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin. Got a couple of things to talk about today. More dealing with the economy. We'll be right back.
I think it's time for us to go right.
The American dream is dead. It is over. Gone and forgotten. Can somebody explain to me why I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage and I cannot afford to live? And I do not want to hear the pull yourself up from your bootstraps, work 90 hours a week. That should not be our standard. When my parents were my age, they both made less than half of what I make, and they lived alone. I cannot afford to live anywhere alone. A 1-bedroom apartment, $1,800. 2-bedroom apartment, $2,200. Who can afford that? It is embarrassing to come out and say that it is a struggle to survive right now. But I know so many people are struggling. And do not get me started on what my grandparents were doing. They $3,000 house. And yes, I understand inflation and all of the bullshit that they have been pulling with the Fed. Why are we allowing it? Why? And then I clock out of my shift. I am tired. I have to go home. And I check the news. Another 60 billion to a country nobody can point out on a map. What are we doing? Where has the plot gone? We have lost it, folks.
So Trump plans to cut taxes on Social Security for seniors. Before even going into the article, I can go straight up going, I don't even understand why senior citizens' Social Security or anybody receiving Social Security would have to pay taxes on Social Security. It makes no sense. This is money you already got taxed on. I would assume you already got taxed on while you were working and you paid into the system. You get taxed again when you get it? That makes no sense. But let's go into it. So Donald Trump has proposed ending the tax on Social Security benefits for senior citizens, countering claims by Kamala Harris that he aims to dismantle these benefits. Because the Democrats always tell you they try to scare the senior citizens, especially people of color. Donald Trump or the Republicans are going to take away your Social Security. The Republicans are going to take away your rights. The Republicans are going to take away your Medicaid and Medicaid. It's always a scare tactic. And to ease you into voting Democrat when you're dead. In a recent poll on Truth Social, Trump stated, seniors should not pay tax on Social Security. I agree. Political implications. This move challenges a reoccurring assertion by Kamala Harris that Trump plans to cut Social Security and Medicare. Trump has consistently denied any intentions to reduce these programs. Now let's understand Social Security taxation. Under the current law, seniors earning above $25,000 per year are taxed up to 85% of their Social Security benefits. 85%? You gotta be kidding me. And it doesn't matter how much, good Lord, there's a big bug right there. I'm being bugged. No. Doesn't matter how much you make or save when you get older. There's medical problems. One little big medical problem, and next thing you know, you're owing the hospital system $1 million. And that's what's sad about our whole system. So it doesn't matter, but taxing? To me, call me, whatever you want to call me, but I feel like that senior citizens, people who are unable to work in America, especially if we got money to send to other countries and not take care of Americans first, I feel like when you reach that age or you're a retirement and you can't work, I think the things you shouldn't have to worry about is the basics. And, you're a communist. No, you shouldn't have to worry about housing. You shouldn't have to worry about food. You shouldn't have to worry about the basics of life. You shouldn't have to. Really shouldn't. That's what a society's supposed to be doing to protect people. You've worked hard. Most of the people have worked hard their whole life. And when you get to that retirement area and you can't move around as much, you shouldn't have to worry about things. That's crazy. And not everybody can work at Walmart as a greeter. They're barely using them now. They're barely using cashiers anymore. Now, under the current law, seniors earning above 25% are taxed up to 85% of their Social Security benefits. That means that even those holding part-time jobs face significant tax burdens. This tax affects nearly 48% of senior citizens receiving Social Security. There's public concern. A recent poll indicates that 81% of Americans aged 65 and younger are concerned that Social Security might not be available when they become eligible. I, for one, gonna need it. I want my Social Security. I've been paying into it. Now, the broader context. Trump faced challenges with senior voters in the previous election because so many were wrote in and for the Democrats, right? This policy, especially with a more progressive candidate such as Kamala Harris, could help him regain support from this crucial voting demographic. And plus, there's not COVID, and there's going to be a lot less cheating, we hope, going on in this election, and a lot less, filling out ballots for old folks who wouldn't vote anyway. And they got to throw out all those ballots that they pre-filled in with Joe Biden on there. They better start rewriting them ballots now. Now, Stephen Moore is an op-ed for Fox Business, praised Trump's initiative, stating, quote, "When it comes to tax policy, working seniors often pay the heaviest toll. Ending Social Security benefit taxes is a smart policy proposal, and even smarter politically, given the importance of the elderly vote. Congratulations to Trump for once again being one step ahead of the Democrats." Now, in related developments, this proposal follows Trump's recent pledge to eliminate taxes on tips for service workers, which would benefit working class Americans. Now, again, this is opinion-based content. The phrase undercutting the lie repeated by Kamala Harris is opinion-based, implying a deliberate falsehood on Harris's part without presenting evidence. But we don't need evidence on some of these things. They lie. We know that. That's a fact. The description of Kamala Harris's, quote, a more radical candidate is subjective and reflects a partisan viewpoint. Of course it does. You bet your bippy. And Stephen Moore's statement reflects his opinion on the policy's political and practical merits. Duh, we quoted the person giving his comment. The source of this is Yahoo Finance, Fox Business, Gallup Polls, Pew Research, Fox Business Again, and Breitbart. You can check out this article and more on GoRateNews.com.
Why do you want a donut store? This place sucks.
Let me tell you something, kid. Working sucks. Okay? Working sucks. And it doesn't matter if you're in a bank, a department store, or a donut factory. Because once you've been there long enough, the only thing you'll care about is when your next pay increase is, how many vacation days you've accrued, and if your health insurance is going to pay for the cholesterol medicine that keeps your heart pumping no matter how much shit you work through it. Then, after you've gained 20 or 30 pounds because you're so fucking uptight all the time, you wake up and discover that you're working for your father-in-law in a position with a gratuitous title and you're totally replaceable. And not only is the new guy better at your job, but he's got a better car and better jokes and better hair. So no matter what you do, you make sure you make a lot of money doing it. Because it all sucks. And that is one lesson I, as your mentor, can teach you. Whoa. How are you? Step right on up here.
Moving on to the next article. The economy flashes warning signs. Let me throw you a quote. Kamala Harris in 2023, and probably now, says, Bidenomics is working. Bidenomics is working. It's a wonderful thing. This is brought to you by #GoRightNews. The recent job report has triggered the most significant market sell-off since the COVID-19 pandemic, raising concerns about a potential recession. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that the U.S. added only 114,000 jobs, falling short of the expected 175,000. The unemployment rate also climbed to 4.3 and the highest since October 2021. But let me still explain to you about the job market. They do all this based on people actively looking for jobs, people who are still filed for unemployment. But at a certain point, you don't collect unemployment anymore, you drop off. That does not mean that the unemployment rate is not much higher than 4.3. It does not mean that there's not more people looking for jobs. Believe me, there's jobs out there, but the way things are with the taxes and everything like that, some people benefit from not having a job. Honestly, people will hurt if they go and work. That's just how the system kind of ends up. And I still feel like that people can be productive and not lose all their benefits for being unemployed. People go, oh, those lazies, they need to go out and work. Well, you got to think about it this way. Especially if you're talking about your family and raising children. Say you've got a family. Say you've got children. Say it's just you. And you collect enough unemployment. Not unemployment, but you collect benefits and things that take care of food stamps, housing, Section 8, and other benefits that help you live, not frivolous, but you're able to live and survive. You're not lazy because you're actually taking care of your family, your kids and everything. But then if you were to want some extra money and go get a job, then you risk losing all of that. And people go, well, you should do it. No, because then who's watching your kids? Somebody's got to pay for the daycare and everything. The thing about it is not everybody's able to work. And there's a balance between so-called being lazy or taking care of your children. And you got to figure out that balance. Again, we live in a society. We live in a country that should be looking out for Americans first. And if you care about family, then some people get to stay home and take care of their kids, especially single parents. Moving on into it, as a result, the stock market saw substantial losses. When the markets closed, the Nasdaq was down 2.4%, the S&P 500 dropped 1.8%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 1.5%. Pre-market trading indicates continued declines. I'm not in the stock market. I don't know what the hell any of that means, but a decline is bad. Increase good, decline bad. Crypto's gone to crap too as well. Now, there's business leaders' concerns. Elon Musk and Bill Ackman, among others, are urging the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates, which they should. Cranking up interest rates while people are suffering just makes no sense. Historically, the Federal Reserve reduces rates to stimulate the economy during a recession. However, inflation, which has been exacerbated by the current administration's Biden's policies, complicates this approach. Lowering rates could worsen inflation. So there's a balance. Political implications. A recession coupled with inflation would negatively impact the Biden-Harris administration's reputation, and Donald Trump responded to economic data, stating on Truth Social, stock market's crashing. I told you so. Kamala doesn't have a clue. Biden is sound asleep, and all caused by an inept U.S. leadership. Yeah, because they're not business people. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Trump had previously predicted that a Biden presidency would lead to a market crash. Now here's an alternative view. Goldman Sachs offers a different perspective, suggesting that it is a healthy correction, not a crash. Copium. The current administration's economic strategy has been criticized for its delayed response to inflation. Bidenomics. It's working. Initially described as transitory by the Biden-Harris administration. It's just like, Biden is capable. He's capable of being president. He's capable of being president. He's wonderful. And then all of a sudden, no, we gotta put in Kamala. We gotta put in Kamala. 0 votes somehow running for president. Makes no sense. So the Biden administration, inflation now poses a significant threat. An emergency rate cut seems imminent, likely leading to further inflation. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Ultimately, it's the American people who bear the consequences. And I'm going to start with this. How about quit giving so much money to other countries? I don't care about the cause. Like people say, Iran, Israel, they're trying to fight each other. They might try to talk nuclear attacks. We got Russia and Ukraine starting squabbles and crap. And here we are feeding everybody else money. Meanwhile, screwing ourselves. We're on the plane, running around putting oxygen masks on everybody else while we're fucking suffocating. Pardon my French. And it's a mess. It's a mess. This is hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin. This article is on GoRightNews.com.
Extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy and strengthening alliances. This is an incredible day.
Let me do the Go Right Roundup. At the end of the day, it's hard times. Hard times for everybody. And all I gotta say is, we gotta do something more about it. We have to put America first. We really need to put America first. And no, it's not racist to put America first, because, hard times create strong men. And strong men create good times. And good times create weak men. And weak men create hard times. We are at the part where weak men create hard times. It's a revolving circle. The circle of life. It's crap. And the same old, and we can't learn from our past mistakes because they cover it up, whitewash our history, and we fall for the same crap, the same problem. I mean, I watched an old movie that said children's today, they seem to not want to do anything unless they get paid for it. And this was back in, the 50s, 40s, whatever. Really old black and white movie. Things I hear on old programming, old things, it's the same old. Same old stories, same time, same bat channel, same batty things. What are we going to do? We have to break the mold somehow. Learn. We're in the information age. We're in the age where AI can tell us everything. Where we can do better research and we can learn better. But we have to let the truth get out there. But people can't handle the truth, right? But it would be nice if our taxes could be cut. I don't understand how we went from a nation that was fighting over a little tax on a beverage drink to fought a revolutionary war against Britain over it, and turned into a country who's pretty much kind of trying to be Britain, where people are trying to fight for us to have one religion here, like Britain had, with their state religion, state funding. They want to regulate everything. They want to tax us to death. And I understand that things have to be paid. I understand that society has to happen. I understand that schools have to operate, and the police and the fire department have to operate, and the hospitals have to operate, and that there's basic costs, the roads and everything. Why is there so many potholes? But we can't do it by taxing the hell out of us. I mean, when I get in a car, I'm taxed for the car. I'm taxed for the license. I'm taxed for the tags. I'm taxed for the insurance. I'm taxed for the food. I'm taxed for the gas. I'm taxed for the clothes. I'm taxed for the snack machine. I'm taxed for my wages. I'm taxed on my stuff. The bills that I have to pay are taxed. I'm taxed if I make some extra money. I'm taxed on the lottery ticket that I bought, even though I bought the ticket. I'm taxed, and that money goes to the system. It's basically a tax. I'm taxed on that if I happen to win. Do I get a rebate? No. We're taxed on taxed on taxed. And to find out, I had no clue that the Social Securities were taxed. I had no clue that after the fact, when you're retired and everything, you're going to get taxed on taxed. Up to 85%? That's nuts. And then ultimately, Bidenomics does not work. Moderation, folks. That's why I tell you to go right, do right, be right. Then you'll always be able to steer the ship to the right way. And moderation. There is a intricate balance that keeps America afloat. And it's not by going far left, and it's not by going far right. It's by steering the ship down the middle and finding the best way that helps all of we the people. Not some of the people, but we the people, which is all the people. And all means all. All American citizens. Putting America first. I think Donald Trump gets us there. Ronald Reagan got us there. And what do they have in common? They were former Democrats who turned Republican, who are more moderate, and both of them supported making America great again, keeping America great, and working towards getting the U.S. citizens what they need. And not a party agenda. Remember, Donald Trump changed the party to the proper agenda. He is not working the Republican agenda. He kicked that out, turned it into our agenda, the people's agenda, the MAGA agenda. Both Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump has done that. And even Lincoln. That's why in the future, your Lincoln Republican meeting should be the Lincoln Republican Trump